Hey everyone, today we're going to take a peek at the line art to Mike Mignola and Brian Augustine's Gotham by Gaslight. I was fortunate enough to have been friends with Brian while he was still with us. Met him in 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. Partied a bit, hung out a bit, shared lots of stories. He was a good man. All right, so we're going to take a peek at these. The original book, these are both first printings. I used to hit up these shows. That's one of my personals there. And then I like when he's signed in gold or silver. It shows up a lot better. Very dark color hues used on these. I used to try to do my best, and it's not that he asked me to. I just did it as a friend. I would find these, clearance bins. Sometimes people would have these short stacks of Gotham by Gaslight. And I would just pick them up, man. I'd get them for him, hook them up, and then he'd, sell them at shows. I'm like, I don't really know what the sitch was with DC, with comps and all that, with reprints, but it didn't seem like it was too good. So, yeah, and you would know Brian, too, from his work on Berto Ramos, Crimson. That's the one, to me, that stands out a lot. But Gotham by Gaslight's definitely up there for me as a collected Batman story. It's probably, I would say it's probably my number 2 after Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. So let's take a peek at this. I tried this before and it had a double echo, so hopefully that doesn't happen this time. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Brian used to call me Shortcake. I don't know why. This is actually an illustration by Brian in 2012. We were at a small local event out here in Arizona. He decided to draw me on a backing board. You can see my soulful gaze, my starlit bangs, that I am absolutely not Dave Grohl. Some rub-on tattoos. I don't know why he doesn't think they're real. Black T-shirt from 20 years ago. Because he always wondered. He's like, "Why are you wearing Ramones? Why are you wearing, Jawbreaker or whatever?" And I was like, "Well, I like them, dude. Like, I still listen to them." Skinny jeans from Forever 21, and an overused pencil. So there you go. I still got this drawing. Always and forever. Black and white edition in the U.S. My own personal copy. I think I have either the German or the French. Because they opted to use the Gotham by Gaslight cover in line art form by Mignola. And this book actually contains both issues written by Brian. It's the Mignola, which would be the first one, the follow-up one, and this is an Elseworlds tale, by the way. It's like a Jack the Ripper type story. Eduardo Barreto, and I'm nothing against Eduardo, but really Mignola for me is kind of where it started and ended. Not really a sequels kind of guy in the Elseworlds stuff. I like the one and dones. So honestly, that's why I grabbed the foreign edition, the non-US edition, I should say. Little Mignola piece there. Got that cool. I don't know why this is in the front. This is like towards the back of the book. Let's see. All right, and then you get to see the line art there to the original line art for Gotham by Gaslight. Excellent. I've always loved the looseness of this. Almost feels like a loosey goosey, paintbrushy sort of way of hitting these. Kind of like snow, even though the setting is not. It's a pre-industrial revolution-y kind of a setting, if I recall. That's an Eduardo. That's not a Mignola artwork there. We're only looking at the Mignola portion, just so everybody knows. So cool intro, cool setup. Get to see the what happened before and how it forges the story. This is later on, Vienna. Excellent work. Something I've always really loved about Mignola is just very nuanced approach to a lot of the detail, the background stuff, and he's always had a really good understanding of like which details, filigree, grooves, things like that, and like wood you would need to express the age of it, because they don't make stuff like this now, I think that's a globe behind, I'm not really sure. Yeah, stuff's great. And you can really see too, this was inked by P. Craig Russell, by the way, so it does have a little bit of that P. Craig line influence. I would almost say like Arthur Adams, Mignola, P. Craig Russell, mid 80s Silvestri, they all kind of use the exact same line art approach. They had a little bit different anatomy and different approach to using spot blacks, but as far as like the lines that they would use and how they would do like double and triple line just to express shadow instead of just dropping a heavy black area is definitely something that they all had in their arsenal. You can see it here. I know this is kind of goofy to point this out, but you can see it right here underneath Bruce's lip right there. That's not indicating a cleft chin. That's just showing that there is a shadow underneath there, a divot of a sort. He also does it here on the forehead. You can see that loop-de-loo right there. Just a cool way of like not necessarily using black, but you are using a line to indicate the direction of like a wrinkle or a stress mark, but they also use it for some boots and other things. This is a very cool illustration here, though. I really like this. That ship is sick. Everything about this book is sick. I love it. I really love this face right here. Very Ichabod Crane looking. Yeah, finish this book, and then you're going to immediately want to watch Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. Yeah. So again, just very, just nuance of detail, but like you can look at this panel right here, and this is not current age. You can just tell. These are cool shots too. Again, a lot of minimalist approach. Contouring. Heavy spot shadows, lightly rendered small figures. That works out really well. Very attractive artwork here. Get to see this coming in for the harbor. And again, everything here, foreground, middle ground, background. Middle ground is a focal point. You see Alfred here in the very front, mostly encapsulated in shadow, but then you get the full shot of him right here. Another thing about this book, I think, kind of plays to Mignola's advantage of like using heavy black and stuff is you kind of figure like at the time that the time's place where this book's supposed to be taking place, like fabric, right? It's like something we don't really think about. Well, they have black, blue, maybe gray, beige. I mean, there wasn't like a whole lot of options there. Yeah, that's a cool bat suit right there. It's kind of just hung up. It's like he's already been at this. It's been there waiting for you. This is something you don't see very often. Like, this is a great illustration, but you don't see this often at all. The big laughy face, illustrated by Mignola. It's mostly demons running from Hellboy, right? It's a cool illustration right here too. It's kind of giving you a glimpse of what this book could have been, I guess. If it was Joker, who it's not, by the way. Spoiler. But this is a cool, like a retro version of Joker, if he was possibly Jack the Ripper. I love this page too. It's so cool. It's these faces, they look the time period. It just looks it. This right here is almost passable Silvestri. Mark was pulling so much from him during the 80s that it's a lot of times I'd be like, oh, he's kind of got that from Mark, and it's like, no, Mark got that from him. Thankfully. There's someone else not to leave out of the mix too is Rick Leonardi. Leonardi's work had a lot of that too, and I know Leonardi. All them dudes had P. Craig Russell inking them, and even P. Craig doing artwork of his own. It all kind of had that same cadence. This is really cool. I like this right here. Got that knife. Ah! Knife to the hand. This is something I hated when it first came out, and then I grew to actually really appreciate it. This use of like these white lines. It's almost like a protruding seam to this costume, right? Only because I almost felt like they should have been more at a downward angle to look more evil or dark. Because right here it just looks like goggles almost. But now I kind of dig it. Kind of dig it. Yeah, and all this work here too, this all precedes Mignola working on his own Hellboy series and all that. But definitely I would say this is the era of work of Mike's that definitely went into the Seed of Destruction series. Absolutely. This is super cool. I really like how you can tell that he's all stabby McStabberton with the right hand, and you can tell this is definitely the left hand coming in right here. Silhouetted in, you can see that's a hand going over the face. It was Victim. This is an awesome page too. I really like this. The framing using this tunnel and the complete negative space. It's just black and white right here. All this is really cool. More Batman. Look at that. No indication of white glowy eyes here. It's super cool. I don't remember seeing him do that though in Cosmic Odyssey. I feel like Cosmic Odyssey was if anything, always implying that Batman's eyes were located in his skull where they were. That's kind of a cool panel. A lot of these pages, though, I do realize in color, I do prefer a lot of them in color, which is kind of not the norm. I generally prefer artwork in black and white. As an artist, I just prefer it as a line artist. But there are things about the color usage and the hand coloring. There's a lot of nuance in there alone that really adds personality to these pages. So I do recommend you pick up the full color edition. There's several printings. I think one came out last year. And you can probably get a first printing, $5-6 off eBay. I don't know. I mean, it probably end up running you $12 with the shipping, but check your local shops too. I mean, it's I don't imagine this book is a $20 book. The hardcovers definitely are. I've seen them as low as $30 and as high as $100. So it just kind of depends on the seller and their mood, I suppose. These characters look like they're ready for some tea and crumpets. Every one of them. Yeah, more minimalist. This is very cool, though. This is something I probably would like to do myself. This final panel right here. I really like this a lot. There's a Punisher short story where Jim Lee actually does this right here, where it's like, it's almost like a pinstriping detail that doesn't follow the contour or the shape or direction of the body. It just sort of goes directly over top of it in a 90-degree angle. And I think it was in a Punisher annual or something. I saw it in one of my omnibuses, but the floppy edition that I have of it, somebody left that in, but they cut out, I think there was a Wills pinup or something that was missing, and I didn't realize that was ever actually in it until picking up the omnibus. Or it might have been in, maybe not an omnibus. I think it's a Wills Portacio Epic Collection, one of those. It's a collected edition, regardless. this stuff's so cool. And you can see a lot of this too. Something, obviously, I mean, this kind of thing where Mark picks it up. And it's not, it isn't necessarily that Mignola reinvented the wheel with this, but doing things like this where you have these overlapping panels and then using these trees, mostly silhouetted to frame this area right here. There was a lot of this type thing, even like this here, walking down hallways with silhouetted figures, straight out of the Darkness comics by Silvestri. So, I mean, obviously he put that in his own arsenal, for sure. And they all could have very easily, I mean, I might be mistaken, they all very easily could have taken it from P. Craig Russell and some older books I'm not aware of, or some Leonardi work, because, I mean, like I say, they were all kind of taken from each other. That's not necessarily something I would see normally in a Walt Simonson book, I don't feel like. And yeah, this entire book it's just so awesome, and it's so cool to look at this in black and white and just see a lot of what was going on. This panel stands out a lot more in black and white than it does in color. And even these, a lot of this here just gets kind of lost in the mix with a little bit of flat gray or beige, whatever color that the colorist used on the colorized edition. And to be honest, I'm not sure if the reprints contain the ink wash hand color method in them. I don't know if they've been digitally recolored or not. So maybe do seek out an original first printing, like I was showing off at the beginning of the video. Yeah, and here again you can see Jack the Ripper. He ain't no southpaw. Got that left hand covering the mouth. No screamy screams. Getting up to stat, and then you see Batman thwarting the plan. He goes running. More of this pre-industrial, this work going in back here. This is really cool. And I like that all the streets are skewed, which is pretty much how it is, especially back in the day. I didn't see any drawings of sinks in here. That'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, this is cool. That's very cool too. Again, simplicity. Kept it simple. Put all the necessary information in there. Good storytelling, good flow. The colorist brought their A game as well. Very cool panel over here. This is very Frank Miller-esque to me. When I look at this over here, that screamy face. Very, very Frank. Awesome illustration here at the top. He's going to get trampled over by this horse here. It's a cool shot of the face there. Nice illustration right there by Mignola. He didn't just wimp out and go full, go full black, and which he could have done. That kind of, his style lends itself to a lot of when in doubt, black it out, right? Makes it easy to draw. And then you see it's kind of funny seeing the gum line. It's just sort of jarring. Yeah, and then he thinks he's getting away, and nope. Out of the brush comes Batman on his horse, leaps off, takes him out, realizes it's family friend Jacob Packer. And then he finds out that this dude was all into his mom back in the day. And when you don't get the girl, you murder. Here we go. Check the. Yeah, this is all. I've always thought this was an awesome shot. I wish there was more like this too, because look at all this detail in the outfit, and you don't get to see any of this. Honestly, in the book, most of it's in shadow. Yeah, this would have served really good. Like these kinds of shots here would have served really good earlier in the book. Because a lot of this stuff here, there's even a panel back here where you get to see a little bit of like almost like saddle stitch stapling where two pieces of material are going across the forehead of Batman. Might be a stat, might not. This panel here with the two pistols after he's shot. I'm not sure. But I think the original panels, he was actually fully silhouetted in the eye. So I think this is just sort of a redraw. But my first glance, I was almost like, oh, is that a stat? Cool panel here. That top panel screams Wolverine Jungle Adventure for some reason. There's something Mignola does kind of often is anytime he has a I don't know what to call it. It's not a worm's eye view, but kind of like it's almost like your perspective is at the collarbone, so you get a little bit of an upshot, like underneath the brow, and then underneath, right up, the divot's sort of hidden now under the nose. But he would always illustrate the lips like this, where they were almost I don't know, like an amoeba or something. But on a full front shot of a character, he would never draw the lips like that. It's always only under these weird perspectives that he does that. Yeah, the police show up. Jacob, you're bad. We know you're bad. He takes one last as a right-hander. Look at that. Batman was on the wrong side. He should have been standing on the other side of that his parents' grave. He slices Batman across the chest and then takes a fatal shot from the police. I do like this panel right here on the right side. It's super cool. Again, simplicity. Look at, indicates the mouth. There's a little bit of expression there. It leaves a little bit to the reader too. You don't have to illustrate every line to show that a character feels remorse or is sad. Really, it's just the happiness stuff. A lot of times, what you read will kind of convey in the face after you've read it, in comic books specifically. And then, yeah, there's the final page right there. What else got in here? Back cover. I think this is the back cover. And then again, this book also contains part 2 of this series. We're not looking at that. We're purely looking at Mike Mignola aspect of this collected edition. And this is the black and white edition, the American one. The first printing, obviously, is only the Gotham by Gaslight story by Brian and Mike. So, and yeah, there you go. There's Brian holding me. That's a lot of years ago. So, cool dude. Miss him. All right, guys. Peace out.